word nerds. I have a unique sentence for us this week. We're actually not going to be reading this book until the week after winter break, so it's going to be a while. You'll have to remember that we started talking about this book. And we'll have a different sentence for after break. But we're actually going to be reading 5 picture books right when we come back from break. It's a lot on our plate, but it's going to be a really good time. So I wanted to use this sentence because we had a couple of cool things about it that I wanted to talk about. Of course, the word cool doesn't technically mean like cool. It means like nerdy cool. So let's dive in here. So let's read this sentence. It's from the book Nobody Hugs a Cactus. And it says, "My name isn't Prickles," Hank yelled back, "and stay out of my yard." So technically, yeah, it's still one sentence, but it is a quotation, so it has a tag in here where it says the name of the person saying it and says how they said it. And it's split into 2, so some of us were really, really struggling with our quotation punctuation rules, and we're just going to keep talking about them over and over and over again, and somehow, some way, some of us might get our punctuation rules. I'm going to, sorry, I just realized I want a highlighter, so I'm hoping I have one. Haha, I do. I'm at home, so I wasn't sure if I had one. Right here. So let's think about the type of sentence that this is first. There are exclamation points on them. So if it has an exclamation point, it's either exclamatory, which means it just shows intense emotion, or it could be a command. And a command is telling somebody what to do. So it says, "My name isn't Prickles," Hank yelled back, "and stay out of my yard." We could argue that part of the sentence is a command and the other part is not. But because we haven't gotten the opportunity to use a command sentence yet, I really wanted to use this one as an imperative. So we're going to write down imperative down at the bottom. imperative. Imperative. And we can do that. Imp part of the sentence means important. So if something is important, then we might command somebody to do it. So which part of that sentence is the command? Is it "My name isn't Pickles"? Is it "Hank yelled back"? Or is it "Stay out of my yard"? It's "stay out of my yard." That's telling somebody what to do. And actually, a lot of times with commands, well, we'll get there in a second. Like I said, this is a little more complicated, but I know that we don't have any roots this week, and we had a little more time to focus on our sentence. So, "my" is replacing the name of the person. So instead of saying, "Hank's name isn't Prickles," Hank yelled back, "and stay out of Hank's yard," it replaces the word Hank, so we don't have to get bored with saying Hank and just fill up the sentence. This is called a pronoun. And we have "my" down here too, so we're going to write down pronoun down here too. Pronoun and pronoun. Now, a name is a thing. It's not an action. Well, you can name something, but in this sentence, "my name," that is a noun. My name isn't. Isn't is a word that is 2 words combined, which is called do you guys remember? It's called a contraction. So I'm going to write the word contraction a little higher up. Contraction. And in our contraction, this apostrophe is replacing the vowel that would have been there. So the 2 words that are combined to make this contraction are is and not. Is and not. And so the apostrophe is where the O would have been. Is not. Okay, Prickles is a proper noun because it's like a specific name. It's not his name, but it's a specific one. Proper noun. Who knows? Maybe I'll read this book this week because I feel bad that I set us up to do it. But we've got a lot of Percy Jackson we're going to be reading. We're trying to finish the book. All right, and then we'll get into all the quotation punctuation in just a second. So Hank is the name of the character that's speaking. This is a proper noun. And then what is he doing? He's yelling. So he yelled. It is a thing he's doing. So it is a verb. And more specifically, because of the ed, it shows that it's a past tense verb. It means that it happened in the past. It's not in the action of happening right that second or in the future. And then the word back is giving more description for how he was yelling. And yelling is a verb, and this is a word that's describing a verb, so that is called an adverb, which we've talked about several times this year. Okay, and then it jumps back into what else Hank is saying. And stay out of my yard. And is a conjunction which combines two parts of a sentence. Doesn't that make sense? My name isn't Pickles. Prickles. Couldn't that stay by itself? Yeah, it totally could. And the word and just puts these two together. Stay out of my yard. Couldn't you say that by itself and it makes sense? Definitely. So that is a conjunction. Stay is a verb. It's an action somebody can do. And out is a word that is describing how somebody is staying. So this is, sometimes out can be a preposition, but in this case it's describing staying out. So that is another adverb. Of, do you guys remember what that one is? It's kind of tricky. It's one that you just kind of have to memorize sometimes, but it's showing like positioning out, and the position is the yard. So this is a preposition. I wrote it this way because I did not have enough space to write it otherwise. We had already said my is a pronoun, and then the word yard is a thing, so it's a noun. Okay, so, alright, the subject and predicate is actually a little complicated for this sentence because anytime we have a conjunction, we usually have two. But then also, because it's a quotation, we have the tag, which has the person saying it. So this one's a little more tricky because we have the, because you would think that the subject is my, but the name is really kind of the subject of this part. My name isn't Prickles. The name is not that. So even though we would want to try to jump to my being the subject, it's really kind of name in this portion of the sentence. So we're going to say name, and then isn't. Name is the subject of that part of the sentence, and isn't is what it is doing. Okay, then we have Hank yelled back. Well, Hank, or yelled is a verb, and who's doing it? Hank. So then we have Hank yelled. And last but not least, we have and stay out of my yard. Okay, so stay is the predicate, it's the verb. But who is doing the staying? Or staying out? Let's say stay out. And stay out of my yard. Is it Hank? My name isn't Prickles, Hank yelled back. And Hank, stay out of my yard. No, it's not Hank. My name isn't Prickles, Hank yelled back. And my, stay out of my yard? No. So who's doing the action? Well, this is what I was mentioning earlier about the imperative. When somebody's giving a command, often the subject of an imperative, the subject is you. So whoever Hank is talking to. So he's like, and you stay out of my yard. It's almost like invisible. So we're going to do like a little ghost. Ooh. But instead of saying ooh, he's saying you. Okay, I really did not mean to come up with that. That just kind of happened right now. I'm going to put parentheses around this because it's not actually in the sentence, but it's implied. You. I guess ghosts are invisible. I'm not sure. Okay, so we're 10 minutes in and we still need to talk about the punctuation for the quotations. So let's notice some things. So first of all, what is not being said out loud by the person? My name isn't Prickles. Is that being said out loud? Yes. Hank yelled back. Would he say Hank yelled back as he sang it? No, we don't say that. So this is the tag. T-A-G. Or aka the narration. So these do not need quotation marks around these things. But everything else around it is stuff that he's saying out loud. My name isn't Prickles, and stay out of my yard. Those are things he said. So we need to have punctuation. So anytime we've got a quote that somebody says out loud, quote, we need to have quotation marks at the very beginning. And notice how we have a capital letter. And then there's going to be some sort of punctuation. In this case, he's yelling, so he's using a lot of exclamation points. And then after that punctuation, we're going to use more quotation marks. Now, technically, he could have used a comma right here. My name isn't Prickles, comma, then quotation marks. So do you guys see why we have to have one that opens and closes it? Because that is exactly what somebody is saying. That's why we need quotation marks when it's what someone is saying. Okay, we don't need quotation marks around this stuff because Hank didn't say Hank yelled back out loud. That didn't happen. But he does say, and stay out of my yard out loud, doesn't he? And stay out of my yard. Okay, so just like up here, we need quotation marks at the beginning. And then we need punctuation. He's still yelling, so they wanted to use an exclamation point. And then there needs to be quotation marks after that final punctuation to close it out. Okay, the only thing we haven't talked about that we're missing is after the narration, we need to have a comma right before it starts again. That comma is a hint that, ooh, a quote's coming. Ooh, a quote's coming. It's leading to the quote. So we need to have a comma to break up the narration to the quote. Okay? I know those are tricky rules, but we're going to keep practicing and practicing and practicing because I want to make sure we get it. All right, guys. It was a little bit of a complicated sentence this week, but it was a fun one. Have a great day.